behold the swelling scene. Admit me, chorus, to this history, who, prologue, like, your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kate, the conference director. And welcome to the final lecture in the new Renaissance series. It has been a wonderful program with some fascinating and provocative speakers. And I don't expect this one to be any less fascinating or provocative. We are delighted to have been able to coax out of retirement the actor turned scholar, June Bloom. We are very happy and honored to have persuaded her to come here today to talk to us about her experience as a performer of Shakespeare and to share with us her understanding of the voice of Shakespeare. Dame June is in the building, but apparently, well, I'm afraid you seem to have mislaid her. So if you wouldn't mind talking amongst yourselves for a few minutes, my colleagues are scouring the building looking for her, and I'm sure we will start the lecture right away. In my correspondence with Dame June, she suggested that you might want to take notes. So if you wouldn't mind passing these on, here's some paper, here's some pencil for those of you who don't have any. Paper, pencil, here. Pass those on. I'll be right back, and we'll start the lecture soon.
No, I will not. Having breath to speak. Oh, that my tongue were in a thunder's mouth. Then with a passion would I shake the world, and rouse from sleep that fell anatomy that cannot hear a lady's feeble voice, that scorns a modern invocation. Oh my goodness, it's time. I'll start. I see I'll have to introduce myself. I'm so glad you've come here. Oh, I do hope you enjoy this. I hope you find something here that's, as Kristen would say, interesting, thought-provoking, perhaps even challenging. You may like to take notes. Shouldn't there be somebody here to introduce me? Maybe not. Maybe I just do it myself. Oh my God, I just did, didn't I? Oh. I just put the echo of it back there behind my ears somewhere. Right. Well, this is the New Renaissance Lecture Series, and the theme of today's lecture is the voice of Shakespeare. Now let me be quite clear from the start. When I say voice, I mean the sound that we humans make in order to express ourselves and to communicate with each other. The human voice is quite unique because, as Cavarero, the Italian philosopher, and as Arthur was saying just yesterday, no two humans are the same. We're all unique. We are all individual, unrepeatable, exceptional, irreplaceable. Yes, so the human voice is just as distinctive as a fingerprint. No two exactly the same. The voice is, in fact, the sound of the human self. My voice is me, audible. Whatever I'm thinking or feeling, you can, if you listen, hear me, myself.
Oh, but...
Yes?
Nay, there is some comfort in the news. Some comfort in the news your son will not be killed so soon as I thought he would.
Why should my son be killed?
So say I, man. If you run away, as I hear he does, the danger's in the standing to it. That's the loss of men, though it be the getting of children. Here they come, will tell you more. For my part, I only hear, your son has run away.
I'm sorry, did someone want to say something?
Oh, yes, excuse me for interrupting. I'm Kate, the conference director.
Oh.
Yeah, I should have been here to introduce you from the start, but no matter, you found your way here.
Kate? Oh, well, it's lovely to meet you after all those emails. Right. Did you want to say something?
Well, yes, I do have a question. Most of the time, don't we try to conceal ourselves from each other so we don't often hear the true self? Isn't that so?
Yes, that is such a good point. Well, life would be pretty unbearable if we went around all the time being honest with each other and exposing our true selves. That's why we have Shakespeare. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself now. For the moment, let me just say this. We cannot transcend the human self. In theatre, though, we can use our voices to go some way towards a realization of the self.
Dame Jude, are you all right? Can I get you some water?
I'm not mad. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. Oh, he's not really lost, you know. His name's not really Arthur. And this isn't really me. I'm not normally like this. And a glass of water would be just lovely. Oh, thank you so much. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercise. And indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this, I'm not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad, I would to heaven I were. Look you, this brave, o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire. Why, it appears nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. But I guess you've heard it all before. Madness, depression. What's it all about? All these words. It's not about meaning, is it? Meaning is inherently unstable, as Derrida and many, many others would have us think. No. It's all in the context, really, isn't it? You see, look, let me put it this way. Suppose I take an egg out of the fridge and put it in a pot on the stove. It's still an egg. And then, if I light the fire under the pot, it becomes a hot egg instead of a cold egg. And then it changes its consistency and it becomes a cooked egg. Oh! That's it! That's how it works! Words are like eggs! Right, but what gives me the right to take somebody else's eggs, words, and cook them, so to speak? I mean, I own the egg. It's mine. I bought it. I paid for it with my own money. I can do what I like with it. And there are loads of interesting things I can do with an egg. I could try changing it into something else. Spinach, perhaps? But why would I bother? Why wouldn't I just buy spinach in the first place? It's a different process. Hens lay eggs, spinach grows in the garden. I am here. You are there. My heart is in your keeping, and you know it not. My heart with yours is sleeping. It nestles, quite unnoticed, breathes with your warm breath, skips a beat when you are afraid, takes on and on and on through the day's routine. I am obliged to you for the pacing and the racing. My heart is in your keeping. You know it not. I'm not mad. would to heaven I were. But then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what should I forget? I've forgotten. I've forgotten what I'm supposed to forget. Talk about a senior moment. There's always a reason why we forget things, isn't there? All right, let's try a different tack. What comes next?
Preach me some philosophy, and thou shalt be canonized cardinal.
Right, and the cardinal says,
Lady, you utter madness, not sorrow.
oh, sorrow! So there you are, it's sorrow that I'm supposed to forget. Okay, right, so let me try again. Oh, if I could, what sorrow should I forget? Oh, and yet not quite, it doesn't quite fit. And I know that, not just because I do actually know the line. It is in my head somewhere, I just can't access it at this moment. No, I know it doesn't quite fit because it doesn't scan, because if I allow the iambic pulse to beat a little more strongly, oh, if I could, what sorrow should I forget? Oh, all right, trochaic inversion. All right. Does everybody know what trochaic inversion is? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Did R instead of did it? Right. The other way around. Okay. So let me try it again. Oh, if I could, what sorrow should I forget? Ugh. I don't know about you, but I find something inappropriate, a banality, creeping in with the extra syllable. And I do know it's not right because although I can't remember the word that Shakespeare chose, I remember how it made me feel. And it had more power than that. Words express how we feel, isn't that so? I'm not mad. I would to heaven I were. But then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Oh, of course. I wonder if one of you would help me here. I need a cardinal. Does anyone else know the play? King John, would you like to say the line for me?
If you tell me what the line is.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Want to say it?
Yeah?
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Oh, isn't it lovely? Would you like to have a go? Just say it, yeah?
Me?
Richard?
Okay.
Yeah, caught my eye.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Oh, yeah. It's sensible, it's powerful, it's ordinary, and it's heightened all at the same time, isn't it? It's just one line. How about you gentlemen up the back of the black shirt? Yes? Would you like to have a go?
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Okay. Now, but would you mind just saying it again? Only this time, would you tell me, a lady, that I utter madness and not sorrow?
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
All right, that's telling me. Yeah. All right, let's play with this. Would you mind saying it again with that attitude after I give you the three-word cue, our modern invocation?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, that my tongue were in the thunder's mouth. Then with a passion would I shake the world and rouse from sleep that fell anatomy which cannot hear a lady's feeble voice, which scorns a modern invocation.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Thou art not holy to be lying so. I am not mad.
Very much afraid that you are.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption. I thought that this was supposed to be the lecture number 4 in the New Renaissance series. This is supposed to be the eminent scholar and actor Dame June Bloom.
June Bloom. Yes, it is. And I am. What is your point, young man?
My point then is that you're not Dame June Bloom.
Oh, really? How do you know that?
Excuse me?
How do you know she's not June Bloom?
Exactly. What a cheek. Please sit down. Thank you for your help. Sorry, well, it's laughable, isn't it, really? I could be bound in a nutshell and count myself king of infinite space were it not that I have bad dreams.
Oh, well, that much is obvious.
I'm not mad.
You've told us so often enough. The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
You are not the king, unless... No, you do but jest. Poison and jest, but it's all right. No, I'm not offended. No offense in the world.
Sorry. How do you know I'm not the king? Mine ear is open and my heart prepared. The worst is worldly loss thou canst unfold. Say, is my kingdom lost?
My father hath a power. Inquire of him. Who are you? You seem to know your Shakespeare pretty well. What's your name?
I'm... student? My name is Jerome. Who are you? Who is your father?
My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost.
No, he's not, and his name is not Arthur. You told us so yourself.
Then where is he? Can you tell me that?
No matter where. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Let's make dust our paper and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills. Yet not so, for what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground?
Our lives, our lands, and all are Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own save death and that small model of the barren earth that serves as paste and cover to our bones. You asked what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground?
Yes.
Our words. We can bequeath our words, by which I mean writers of plays. Bequeath us their words. Are you a writer?
No.
An actor?
My father hated actors.
Oh. And so he named you after Saint Jerome, the patron saint of students. Saint Jerome was a very clever man. He spent years doing the kind of close reading, fine analysis of the Bible, taking different versions, different translations, trying to nail down the meaning of words in much the same way that Shakespeare scholars have been doing for the past 400 years. And it's good work. It's wonderful, the things that they discover. Perhaps I should say rediscover, because if they're right, they're only telling us what was known before.
Your son was a writer, wasn't he?
Yes, that's right. You've done your homework. Are you a reporter?
No.
My son was a writer, yes, like his father before him. Do you know, George, my husband, used to say he was the hermit, writing stories in a cave, and I was the magician, traveling the world, creating magic. All of us telling stories, really, except that where I try to find some kind of present truth within the words, Charlie used words to hide the truth. No, that's not really fair. What was it? His first novel, I read the first 3 or 4 chapters and found myself plunged into a part of my own history. So that's how it's done. I thought you'd just write it as it was, changing the names as you go.
I wouldn't put it quite like that.
Except that he had written me out of it.
No.
Yes.
It was fiction. It was just a novel, for Pete's sake.
I did not exist. How weird. Unbelievable. I wasn't just not there. I did not exist. Who is with me? Because I was there and I am here. And I did not fit into the plot, but I was there. And who can hear as I can with eyes in my ears? There is no sense in it.
Thou frantic woman, what does she make here? Tell thy old dogs once more, traitor rear?
No, this is not sensible. No, I'm so sorry, everybody. The lecture seems to have gone awry. I think we should get back to the topic, the voice of Shakespeare. Because the point is, well, no, the question is, who do you think I am?
You don't look anything like Dame June. I've seen all of her movies. She's much taller and younger than you are.
Oh, well, that's about the nicest compliment I've ever received. Thank you. All right, enough of this hilarity. The question is, with whose voice does Shakespeare speak? Metaphorically, of course, his own, whoever he or she was. But we're not dealing with metaphor here. We're dealing with the real, live, living Shakespeare, the one who struts his hour upon our stages, in our times, telling our stories. And that can only happen if his words are being created anew in our bodies.
Why? Why can't I just read them? I enjoy reading them.
Oh.
What's wrong with that?
No, it's all right, I can answer. And I shall, in my next lecture series, which will be entitled Shakespeare, the Voice of Australia. Followed by Shakespeare, the Voice of America. Do feel free to attend, you might learn something. For now, can we please accept that this lecture attends to the spoken word, on the assumption that Shakespeare is a playwright worthy of performance? And if you're going to perform Shakespeare, it seems to me that you're going to use his word, because what else is Shakespeare? Stories, themes, ideas. Others have written plays based on the same stories and themes and ideas. Why do we still perform Shakespeare? Because of the words he chooses and the way he strings them together. For being not mad, but sensible of grief, my reasonable part produces reason, how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. I am not mad. If I were mad, I should forget my son. No, I should remember.
Dan June, are you all right?
Yes? What? What do you remember? Do you remember writing?
Writing. Yes. Images of silent sound and quality taking form inside me, sliding magically down the insides of my arms, ideas falling from my fingertips as words. Oh, I remember making breakfast for my son. I remember him, his school tie askew, his blazer imploding with next year's growth. That was the year he believed me, in all honesty, to be immortal, because he'd heard that I had once stepped aside hurriedly for Bill Hicks.
Nobody here knows who Bill Hicks is.
Oh, possibly. I know who he was. Bill Hicks is dead. So is the dog. The dementedly devoted dog.
Oh yes, the dog. Named after a famous African queen.
How funny you should have heard that. She was actually named, her kennel name was Georgina Charlotte.
My father's name was Charles George.
Really? A right royal sounding name, don't you think? Yes, a bit old-fashioned though.
Old-fashioned, is it? You should know. Or have you moved past all of that? You are old enough.
Ah! You can't hurt me with that! Ah, don't you know I belong to the favored generation? By the time I turned 50, everyone who mattered was there already, making it look good and sound exciting.
So the world was real, and you were there. You took part in it.
I did, for all the world.
You had a husband and a child. You must have loved your husband once.
I did. I thought I knew what love was. Isn't that a song? I never knew what love was.
You must have loved your son, Charlie, didn't you say? And where is he now?
No, I don't play that game. He's lost. I lost him. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. Fare you well. Have you such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do.
No.
Oh, I will not keep this form upon my head when there is such disorder in my wit.
Mother, what's the matter?
Thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No. By the rood, not so. You are the queen. Your husband's brother's wife. Would to God you were not so.
What has she done that thou darest wag thy tongue and noise so rude against her?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent lover, makes a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of complacency plucks the very soul. Sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words.
Why would you think that? I was never unfaithful in my life.
But you wrote about it yourself. Your own words.
My words.
Yes.
My words. You know, I remember so many words. But when we perform Shakespeare's text, it is the voice that provides the words that matters. No, please don't go. Don't go, please. I'm not saying words don't matter. The words matter. Of course they matter. We must have the words, and we do have them, and we have them for a reason. But that's all they are, words, black marks on a white page, or concepts, until we voice them. Now, with whose voice does Shakespeare speak? With mine.
You say you're not mad.
I'm not mad. I am my voice. Where my voice is, I am. My voice lives within me. It sounds within me and without me, but never without me. It sounds before me and behind me, and wherever I am, my voice is. My voice, moving through space and time, becomes part of you. The space of this room bends my sound voice back to me as sound gives way to silence.
Is this not madness?
If I were mad, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Do you know me?
I cannot tell.
Assuredly you know me.
No matter so what I have heard or known. You laugh when boys or women tell their dreams. It's not your trick.
Understand not,
Well,
madam.
then you may be sitting down, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, for heaven's sake. Oh. Let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the deaths of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in battle, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, smirking his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath. Seen to monarch eyes be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with a self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass impregnable. And humored thus comes he at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle walls, and farewell, king.
More words. Whose words are they? Are they yours?
Shakespeare's words,
Of course they are. Of course they're Shakespeare's words. But while you are speaking them, as you are speaking them, whose words are they? I'm not talking about copyright here. I'm trying to get us to think about the process of communication through our voices by way of language. This is both a practical and a philosophical question. Do you know, our theory of voice is similar in this respect to a theory of mind. Everyone has one, but not everyone knows that they have one.
I see. You mean when I'm reciting Shakespeare in that act of recitation?
Do you trust yourself to speak what you feel, not what you ought to say?
I know what I want to say right now.
Yes? But you didn't say it, and the moment has passed. We either speak our minds, or we mind our speech. We might say we speak without thinking, but it's just not possible. That said, we're not usually conscious of the words that we've chosen until we're in the act of speaking them. And if you try to second guess yourself, you will stumble. Now, when an actor speaks a memorized text, she does already know the words. But in the world of the play, the character doesn't know what the words are going to be. So the actor must create the illusion that the character is expressing a thought rather than quoting remembered lines. Do you have another speech you can use? You seem to have volunteered yourself as my guinea pig. I'd like to extend this particular teaching point. Do you have another passage?
Sure.
Okay. So, while Jerome is speaking, I would like you to close your eyes and see if you can distinguish from the sound of his voice whether you think you hear quoting or reciting or remembering, or if you might think you hear the self of Jerome or the self of the character whose lines he's speaking, and jot your response down for discussion afterwards. About 10 lines would do, and you may choose which function you're going to use.
Cover your heads and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty, for you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel, want, taste, grief, need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am king?
Okay, that's strong enough. Just hear the echo there in your mind. It's strong enough to sort of replay it there for a second or two. Tell us, how does your voice function?
It's a process of transformation from me to you. My thoughts evolve, and those that survive demand expression. They take aural shape within my breath, inside my body, and the vibrations set in motions swirl and reform, blend on the way out into the room where you might judge them, wanting. I let them go, and they freely move from my bones, my skin, our shared space, your skin, and your bones.
Yes, very well expressed. Thank you. So, what makes us think that giving voice to Shakespeare's words might involve anything different? They're still just thoughts, as you said, which have taken oral shape within the speaker's body in order to be expressed, let go, filling the space, being perceived by the listeners as what? What I would like you to hear and perceive are the thoughts that give rise to the sounds that I shape into words.
So, whether the words I speak are coined by me or by Shakespeare, the voice is mine, so the words, in a sense, are mine.
Only if the thoughts that give rise to them are yours.
I can hardly think somebody else's thoughts.
No, but you can think something so unreal, so unlikely to ever be true. I dreamt I spoke with your voice. Your thoughts, unbidden and unwarranted, sprang from my mouth. My head was crammed with your dreams. Your fantasies snaked around my heart. My lungs breathed out your songs. Your sleep encompassed my dreams. I dreamt you wished with my soul. My spirit laughed with your tears. Your sighs proclaimed my needs. My life gave up your ghost. You gave up my love. I dreamt I spoke with your voice. I spoke of dreams beyond desire. Your voice inspired desire beyond inspiration. Beyond inspiration is the sound of your voice in my dream.
It isn't true, is it? This man you wrote about, you just made him up. You never had a lover, did you?
No, of course it's not true. But if I imagine it, I think it, and then if I speak it, it has to be true. The true expression of what I am thinking, you understand?
I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
Would you mind doing it again? More. See the body? You can't do them all without the body.
I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
One more thing. There's a word in there. Subjective. What does it mean?
Subjected thus, I'm... Do you want me to explain or just say
Yeah,
it?
no, tell me. Tell me in your own words, what are you talking about there?
I'm talking about living the same lives that everyone else has lived. Life has placed me, the act of having flesh and a body has placed me on the same playing field as everyone else. I'm a subject to
That's it.
life.
No.
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 No, it's that as well. But there's another specific, a subject of who?
God.
It's in the text. The king.
Subject of the king.
Yes. You are a king. But here you're saying,
I'm not a king.
from the point of view of a king, it's very specific. Very specific. We must mean the words we are saying. The actual words we are saying. Say again. Please.
I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus. How can you say to me I am a king?
Young Arthur was my son, and he is yours.
You hold too heinous a respect of grief.
He talks to me that never had a son.
You were as fond of grief as of your child.
Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garment with his form. Then have I reason to be fond of grief?
You never cried for me.
I only ever cried for you.
Could you be just a little bit more melodramatic?
Not without music. You see, the thing is, this is how it is. I think of you, that's all I do. I read a poem and I hear your voice. Just a phrase, an echo in my mind. I walk down Bleecker Street and you are there in a shop doorway buying a book on mushrooms, looking at shirts. Is this grief or obsession? I'm not doing it consciously, you understand. It happens to me. Grief, obsession, you happen to me. I'm no voice crying in the wilderness, crying a prophecy of God-given vengeance. My voice is not a voice, it is a mind. A thought crying out in my skull, gaining strength with every blow and fed each day on a fearful mindless fodder of
You
words.
require a mind in order to be spoken.
What is the mind?
What is speaking?
Speaking is the act of giving voice to words.
What are words?
What is voice?
Voice is the body within the words.
What is body?
What are words?
No! Words cannot translate my thought. It is a monster that belies description, and so I wonder who is with me. Am I alone in my possession of this wordless thought? How can a sound reverberate through years of life, death, love, loss, science, time? That history could be reenacted is irrelevant.
Irrelevant to whom? Have you forgotten my father? He is not lost. He cannot be lost. Where is your son?
Do not forever, with thy veiled lids, seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seem? Nay, it is, I know not, seems.
Precisely! It is! It must be. It must be real to you, just in that moment. Your reality and that of the character collide, as it were.
Like you were doing to me just now, where you were my mother, and I was your son, and you were saying the
Yes.
words from Shakespeare. Was I your son?
My son?
Were you thinking of your son when you were speaking to me? You seem to know me.
You know, I could paint if I wanted to. Arty, crafty stuff, you would faint when you beheld my miracle. People would flock in their millions. They gasp.
Gasp in awe.
Women, the beauty,
Men would grin knowingly.
full of perception, proportion.
Deception, misconception.
No one would even know.
No one?
Oh, I know. I would know. How do you know that?
Oh, that's my favorite poem from your last book.
You've actually read my poetry.
I've recognized quite a lot of it today.
Dame June, could I just ask a quick question?
Oh, is it that time already? Do we have time for questions? I think I'll just leave it at that for now.
Where is your son?
Oh, speak to me no more! These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more!
This matters in these sighs, these profound heaves. You must translate to fit. We understand them. Where is your son?
Ah, my good lord, what have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude, how does Hamlet?
Mad as the seas of wind, when both contend, which is the mightier?
Are you talking about yourself or about your son?
I'm sorry? I thought you meant questions relevant to the lecture. I'm not mad.
You said your son was lost. You don't lose a son.
Playing.
Was he dead?
I was playing with text. I thought you understood that. Is there anyone else who didn't get it? That was the whole point of the exercise.
No,
after all.
I do get it. Just don't remember your son.
No, that's not how it was. My son does not remember me. Remember me. Remember me. Yea, from the table of his memory, he wiped away all trivial fond records, all stores of books or forms, all precious past that youth and observation copied there.
Men judge by the complexion of the sky, the state and inclination of the day. So may you by my dull and heavy eye, my tongue hath yet a heavier tale to say.
My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. What art thou? And how comest thou hither? Thou loved me, 'tis time thou wert away.
What my tongue dares not, but my heart may say.
Speak sweetly, man, though thou lookst be sour.
It's never enough, is it? The words inside your head scrambling for freedom. It's never enough. The space between the words inviting interference. It's not enough to know, to have, to feel.
There must be space outside my head. Room to maneuver. Yes, that's how it should feel. How do you know that poem? I never published it.
father knew that poem. And maybe you did send it to a publisher. Are you sure you didn't publish it? Maybe I read it in a book. How else would I know it? Maybe your son had access to it.
Of course my son had access to it. He had access to everything. He would know anything he wanted to know about me. Why would I keep anything hidden from him? I wouldn't. He needed to know. He needed to know everything about me so that he could know who he was. He thought he had nothing to do with me. He thought he existed without me. That's as silly as saying my voice exists without me. It's just not possible. I am my voice. I am here.
I know. I am here. Now. Come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. And this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse.
I will pass by. Green grass remembers.
Hold that thought.
I remember pain, never enough of me.
Who cared?
Wrong question. I will pass through, making flames desire arising.
Strong winds fan the memories of future flights of fantasy.
I jump into the blue, new. Nothing stays the same, not even memories.
It is not the fashion to see the lady, the epilogue. But it is no more unhandsome to see the lord, the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, then 'tis also true that a good play needs no epilogue. I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you. This king's a beggar. Now our play is done.
All is well if our suit be one that you express content.
Which we will pay with strife to please you, day exceeding day.
And with your
So, on your patience,
evermore attending, new joy wait on you. Here our play has ended.
Now I'm going to invite my fellow presenters to get back up here. And any questions or observations? If you remember the injunction at the beginning to maybe note down anything you found that was either interesting or thought-provoking or challenging. And I haven't got a pen. Thank you so much, Artemis. I would be most grateful. This is, in fact, the performances practice part of my thesis for my doctorate. And I hope that it's also, if not now, not very far off, being a fully fledged theatrical production. Any observations, anything if you'd like to comment on, or any questions? I can tell you that the three of us, with Judy, our director, who's hiding in the front row.
She can't see. She's got contacts on.
Yeah. You're co-presenters, so get up here. Well, I boss her around now.
She does, but it's okay. I'll get back at her.
We have actually been rehearsing this online for the past 3 months.
Using Skype, and iVisit and Google Chat.
Wow.
At one point, I was in Mexico City, and you were in Brisbane, and you were in Utah, and I was in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah. 4 different time zones. Anyway, that just a little bit of background there. So yeah.
What was the springboard for you?
The springboard for this particular piece was a course that I was doing as part of my degree, in embodiment. God, it was 3 E's. Performativity. And there were about 20 of us on the course, and every single person were there was like a different art form and had a different interpretation of the word performativity. And I had opted for the doing a 10-minute something practical plus the essay, and I was I so wanted to perform something. I was racking my brains going, oh, I'm talking about the voice is performative and that all these different performative functions. The voice is performative beyond language, beyond the linguistic sense of performativity, where, it's a speech act. The words themselves form an act they perform an act, I said, no, the actual voice, the quality of the voice has its own performative function. And what can I then? I went, duh, do it. Don't talk about it, do it. Get on your feet and actually do it. So I started off, and it was a little 10-minute, it was a 20-minute actually, little lecture where I just greeted everybody that was saying, hello, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. My name is Constance, and sort of left into it. And I got a student of mine who struggled with Shakespeare to come and devise it with me, and said to him, what do you find different? One of those moments where I say, are they your words? And he says, oh no, they're Shakespeare's. I said, that's it. So then, since then, I've been developing it, expanding it and developing the theory and the philosophy and building the characters, yeah. So yeah, it's all about voice.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate presenting yourselves to us as actors. I think that we don't often do that, and when we become teachers, more than performers, it becomes a supreme act of courage to expose yourself. And because what you're talking about is a very subtle presence, it's necessary, I think, every once in a while, for us to actually look at each other like that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I also feel that as teachers, we are performing, and that our voice is what our students hear. And there's that fine balance between repeating my voice in their bodies or creating their own. That's a really fine balance to walk. Uh-oh. Have we overwhelmed you all? You have stuff to say,
Here we
please
go.
do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take.
Is this the first, are we the first group that it's been performed for? Have you performed
In
it?
this version, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's had 3 other work in progress.
And did you get
incarnations.
feedback from the it's works in progress as you were?
Yes.
This is the first time that her character's been performed.
Yes, it was two-handed before. Yeah.
So I'm wondering what you are hoping, if you know what you're hoping, that the journey that the audience goes on.
That's the big question.
Yeah.
What is that journey?
Yeah, yeah.
And how much
I'd
of
like-
this is left journey?
I'd kind of like to know what, if any, journey you did go on before I say what, because what I think is still not yours,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would so love it if you would. I should have.
Well, I
Yeah,
think it would
I put my website there, my email address. Yeah.
There's a gentleman in the back.
I would just say that as someone who's loved Shakespeare since I was 5 years old, and has in vain dragged my husband to film after film and production after production, and he finally said, you know, darling, you don't really get Star Trek, and I don't really get Shakespeare. But if he had seen this, I think he might have understood a bit more about why actors love Shakespeare. And the bits that you did would have made sense in a way that the language otherwise is lost to. So, thank you.
Yeah.
I was also harboring that same question, where do you see this being done? What do you see as perhaps your projected audience? Where would you market this? Sorry, bad word.
No.
But in Orlando, we have an Orlando Shakespeare Theater, and they have a play fest. It's grown into a 10-day festival of new plays and new scripts. And I thought very early on into your piece that this is perfect because all of the audience members, they come to see new work. They love it with a classical bent, and there's you always have those playgoers that say, how'd you learn all those words? And they have a wonderful outreach program. They're trying to reach students. I think this is marvelous. I've noticed your agitprop note in the program, because it's very, I didn't find it too teachy, but I find that, because I know and believe all the stuff that's all you were already saying. So you were preaching to the choir to me, but I know there's your husband and others would, I think, really love this. I think it's charming, and I love being put on the spot, and I wasn't sure it was for real. I think you should do more of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Not should. You never say should to a playwright. No, I think you could.
I really, really want much more interaction with the audience. It was the time constraint.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I was
Yeah.
also curious what you cut, because I know you shortened this for today.
Yeah.
So, but you can tell me later. I'm curious, what were the 20 minutes that you cut, or whatever it was?
No. What was cut?
Not my part.
Yeah.
We kept saying, let's just cut my
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, no, my fantasy for world domination is to tour Dame June throughout the world, playing in theatres, at festivals, but also in colleges, to and with students. I still haven't resolved this, but initially my idea was that everywhere I went, I would work with a local student. And I've done that twice, and it is the hardest work I've done in my life. But it was still very rewarding and much, much fun. But then this guy came in and spoilt me. Hey, yay. It's such fun.
Yeah, that was hard before.
Playing with a real actor.
I think you should keep him and just have a couple more spots, because that's a little dicey.
Yeah.
You could tank if you give him too much to do.
But yes, no, that was it's been written and designed with the aim on my part of being both informative and educational and theatrical at the same time, so that, I know you can preach to the converted, but I want to be able to put it in front of an audience of Joe Bloggsers. And they keep asking me in Brisbane, because I'll be putting it on next year. They say, what's your target audience, Flloyd? I say over 50 and under 49. Because the over 50s, because, the memory, all of that stuff, it resonates with a lot of my friends. But the young blood, I think will also appeal to the sort of, the student audience. Yeah. Oh, we're going now. Yeah.
We're both students, and it was really nice to have this character. Sometimes watching Shakespeare can be intimidating to ask an obvious question like, why do you do this, or what is the voice? And it's really nice to have this kind of team member who's willing to stand up and ask a quote-unquote dumb question, and ask an obvious question to most, but it's really helpful for students to hear that, to hear a very eloquent answer to it, and one that doesn't make us feel dumb.
One more, and then I'm sorry. I thought you were the same.
No, I have a different one, but whoever was before me.
Gentleman in the
I was
back.
just going to say, it was wonderful how you crossed over, if you will, from contemporary language into Shakespeare's so seamlessly, to give it that accessibility and to actually bring it into, yes, it's my voice and it's just coming. And the way that you warmed up, and some of the prompts from the other character, just how it was great, because it does open it up and make it more accessible to those who are going, oh, Shakespeare.
I was curious about how you're presenting this to other places to perform it. Are you treating it as a lecture, and then it's a surprise show every time, or are you more honest about the fact that it's a show?
Oh, it's even a surprise to me.
Because I rather
Yeah.
enjoyed the premise of the lecture with the leaflets and everything, and I
Yeah.
think for students, especially if that's one of your audiences that you'd like to hit, that it could be a really nice treat, because I know I love lectures, and then to surprise them with a show
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be very evocative.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. If I can get lots of people who work in colleges to invite us to come and do it there, and they know what they're getting, but the students don't, so they get them in the room. In the theatre, for a theatrical presentation, over and over, I just get people saying, "Oh, it's a lecture," So I've got to totally have two completely different marketing strategies, and I'm the world's worst marketer. Oh my God.
So we need to add a marketing person to our team. We're at 4:30, but I want to put one question out to all of you, all right? In your minds, you know what the lecture was about. When the performance part came in, did that enhance your understanding of that? The voice inside, being able to see the characters really doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're seeing
We're hearing.
yeah, the process. Yes, you're hearing about the process, you're hearing about the technicality, and then you're seeing it executed instantly, which is usually you get one or the other, you don't get both.
I think one of the most effective parts for me was actually when you said shut your eyes, because we're so visually driven, and that was really a lovely moment. And then to hear the contrast of the performance voice versus the more natural voice and the actor's voice. So I thought that was really particularly strong.
That was actually most fun for me. Let go and just ham it up.
And he did. I challenged him to do it differently every time, and he has.
We should give Flloyd another big hand.
Please, borrow it still. Please, if you can find a couple of minutes to shoot me an email with some feedback. Goes into my appendix, but it absolutely feeds me, and the development of this work.
Is your email address on here?
I've put my website address on there.
Okay, you get it from there though?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, contact.
Which one of the two do you prefer?